What's going on, ADK Sports Performance families? Ryan here with this week's Coach's Corner. And with athletes going back to school this week and next week, I thought it was important to touch once again on what is in your lunchbox. And while it seems like a silly question, I ask it again and again because a lot of times, coaching in the afternoon now with the fall starting, we talk to our athletes about what they had for lunch, when they had lunch, and oftentimes it's not a lot and it's been a while. And they come to us for training, or they're coming to us for training after coming from practice, and it's been 4, 5, maybe even more hours since they've eaten anything. So the analogy I always like to make with athletes is that you're basically trying to drive a car without any gas, and you're not going to get very far doing that. And you can get away with it sometimes, but your performance is going to suffer. So if we backtrack a little bit and look at what our athletes are eating for lunch, when they're eating lunch, and then in between lunch and then dinner, what's going on there, making sure that we're prepared so that way we're setting ourselves up for success when it comes to our training and then our performance when we're going to practices and games for our athletes or in season. So making sure that we're getting a good quality lunch is going to set ourselves up for success later on in the day. So making sure we're getting, whether that be a sandwich with some good protein, some good carbohydrates from whatever bread that you use, some good fruits and veggies so that way we get our micronutrients, even snacks, things like crackers, goldfish, Cheez-Its, things like that are going to help us up those calories, especially for some of our younger athletes who just can't seem to keep up with their appetite. But making sure that we're getting good quality foods in, as well as our hydration. It's still pretty warm out coming out of the summer into the fall, making sure that we're not going into our practice, our game, our training session dehydrated. That's again going to set us up for decreased performance and an increased risk of injury. So making sure that as we get into our school year, we start off with some really good habits of making sure that we're either packing or buying a good lunch that is going to provide us with a lot of calories, a lot of nutrients, a lot of hydration. So that way, when we come into the club to train, when you go to practice, when you go to a game, or a combination of those things, you have the fuel in your system so that way you can maximize your performance and your training. If you have questions about setting yourself up for success or your athlete up for success, feel free to reach out and we can talk about specific strategies to help them out with their lunch. We'll see you next week.